Right off the bat, let's look at this. Great body line. Really nice position. Good streamline, nice and tight. Um, Fingertips. Now, one thing that we'll talk about is kind of where your hands are pointed. So fingertips are pointed up a little bit. That's okay because we're heading towards the surface. That's a good cue to help you come to the surface if you feel like you're too deep. But what's happening here, this is just so that you know, is that is creating a little bit more resistance against the water than you probably want. If we can keep those hands nice and flat and leading forward, that's going to limit the resistance that you have in that streamline. So what's happening here that's really good is that position here. So nice high elbow and elbow bend with fingertips pointing to the bottom. To make this a little bit better, we'd want to see the catch start closer to this height and the fingertips go down without letting the elbow drop back anymore. Okay, once the elbow starts to drop back, we're losing a little bit of the power in the catch, but do a really nice job of keeping the elbow up until you get to about right here. The elbow comes back. It's what we call kind of a break in the catch. We're leading with the elbow and slipping just a little bit, but this is a great position to make sure that we're holding on to water. So we're still pressing water in the right direction here at the end. We just want to work on changing this angle here. So from this to something that's a little bit more out in front. So let's look at this. See how straight that arm is? Now that's okay for arm extension out front at the beginning of your stroke, but we're pulling all the way through and there's just a very slight bend in there. Okay, we want to engage all this. So these muscles here in your core, just like we talked about in the fly, we need to have a little bit more of a severe elbow bend here where the elbow is coming down a little bit further. Fingertips can be pointing up towards the surface or towards the side of the pool. But we can't keep it that straight because then we're just using the smaller muscles in our shoulder to pull water. You are doing a good job of creating a nice paddle here with your hand and your forearm, which is pushing water this way. But again, bigger elbow bend is going to help us have more power and use bigger muscles to help you move down the pool. We're creating drag that hits us here. And here. So breaststroke, there's a bunch of drag, period. That's just the nature of the stroke. What we're trying to do in the breaststroke to help our technique is to limit that as much as possible. So what you're doing with your head position and how you're sneaking your hands around make a big difference. So again, head position, and we can see here, from here to here. This is all area of water hitting you. So trying to limit that as much as possible by figuring out how to get closer to the surface and keeping that body line in line. And look at the depth. Pretty deep right now, which means we got to float through a lot of water before we can start actually swimming. What we need to do is make sure that we kick our way to the surface. So that means we start the arm strokes to separate the hands once our feet get to the surface. Our feet hit the surface, we feel the air with our feet, then separate the hands. Okay. This is fantastic. Great line. What do we need to make that better? We need to have it up here. We just need to make sure that that line happens as you come to the surface. Again, best cue to be able to do that is have your feet break the surface first. Okay.